Oma, the poor child. Oma, come here. Are you done cleaning my daughter's room? Yes, ma, I'm done with my chores. Shut up, you fool. Who asked to eat that food you are eating? Ma, is the remaining food your daughter Chika remain that I carried? I have not eaten since morning and it's night already. How dare you talk when I'm talking? You are very stupid. I'm sorry, ma. Oma was living with Patient, the wife to Honorable David. They were very wealthy, but Patient was the devil herself. She treats Oma, their house help, like an animal. Honorable David was always busy with government projects. That doesn't stop David from maltreating Oma whenever he's around. The house was fire for the poor Oma. Oma was given to them by their pastor in the church. Oma was a poor orphan. Her mother and father were shot dead by 3 gunmen. Before her father and her mother died, Oma was living a very good life. Oma's late father was working in the House of Representatives. So after Oma lost her parents, because she was the only daughter of her parents, her uncle came and claimed all the properties and sold her father's mansion. Oma became homeless. That was when she started sleeping in the church. That was why their pastor handed her over to Patient and her husband to be her guardian, because Patient was a close friend to Oma's late mother when she was alive. The pastor thought it would be good for Oma to live with Patient and her husband. Just 6 months of staying with Patient, Oma saw hell. She couldn't continue her school. Patient and her husband David was just using Oma to do all the house chores. They sacked their 2 workers, which they pay every month because they brought Oma to the house. Oma became a slave to Patient and Honorable David. Sometimes, Oma would not eat for the whole day. She was treated like trash. Sometimes, Oma would go to the backyard to eat the dog food so she can have a little energy. Patient's daughter Chika was a very mean girl. She bullied Oma a lot. She would order Oma to wash her clothes, clean her room, wash her toilet. Oma would do her school assignments. Every night, Oma would be crying and calling on God to rescue her. Life was a living hell for her. She looked herself in the mirror. She could barely recognize herself. One Tuesday, Oma was going to the market when she saw an elderly woman in her 50s standing behind her car. Oma walked close to the lady. Immediately, her bodyguards dragged Oma away. Oma was trying to resist them when the woman asked them to leave her. She walked down to the woman and greeted her. The woman asked her what was the problem. Oma said nothing. It's just that part of your clothes is trapped on your car door. I was trying to explain to you so you will not be injured while trying to move or if the car moves. The elderly woman was touched by Oma's kind attitude. The lady then apologized to Oma for the way her bodyguards treated her. Oma was about walking out when the lady asked her where she was going. She said market. The lady pointed at her compound and asked Oma to visit her within the week and told her bodyguard not to restrict her whenever they see her. The woman asked her driver to take Oma to the market. Within the week, when Oma was going to the market, she visited the woman. So whenever Oma is going to the market, she will branch to the woman's house to say hello. So after some years, Patient's business collapsed. Her husband was also dismissed from his political seat. Things became rough for them. Patient said Oma was the cause. She beat Oma, locked her up for 2 days, no food, asked Oma to confess or else she would die in that room. Oma was crying and explaining that she is not a witch, that she is innocent, but Patient refused to listen to her. 2 days later, Chika opened the door for Oma to come and do her assignments for her. Chika threw the book and pen at Oma to do her assignments before she locked her up again. As Oma was doing the assignment, she noticed that Chika has fallen asleep. She managed the little strength she has and ran away. She went to the woman she normally visits whenever she's going to market. When she got to the woman's house, she explained everything to the woman. And the elderly woman asked her not to go back to that house, that she can stay in her own place. Oma was so happy. The woman asked some of her maids to clean up Oma, gave her food, she showed Oma her room and asked her to feel free. Whatever she wants, let her talk. Oma never knew that the woman was the senior sister to the president, Madam Ruth. Ruth was her name. Madam Ruth's children was outside the country. Madam Ruth was a strong politician in the government. She sent Oma back to school and treated Oma like her own child. Oma finished university and started working with Madam Ruth. One day, the president's son visited his auntie, Madam Ruth.
His name was Daniel. The day Daniel saw Oma in Madam Ruth's house, he quietly asked, "Auntie, is she the young lady you once told me about?" Madam Ruth smiled warmly. "Yes, she is." From that day, Daniel began visiting Madam Ruth more often than usual. At first, it was to see his aunt, but soon it became clear he also came to see Oma. Their conversation started with greetings, then laughter, then long discussions about life. Slowly, without planning it, they both developed deep feelings for each other. Daniel admired Omar's humility and strength. Omar admired Daniel's kindness and respect. With Madame Ruth's blessing, Daniel and Omar got married in a joyful ceremony filled with happiness and tears of gratitude. But Daniel carried a question in his heart. What truly happened to Omar's parents? He wanted justice, not revenge. He wanted the truth. After their marriage, Daniel secretly hired professional investigators to dig into the past. Months of silent investigation passed. Old records were opened. Hidden witnesses were found. Phone calls were traced. Then the shocking truth surfaced. Honorable David, the same man who once maltreated Omar, was the one who had sent the gunmen years ago to eliminate Omar's parents and seize their wealth. Their plan had included Omar, but on that terrible night, she had attended a church vigil. Grace saved her life. When the evidence became undeniable, the authorities stepped in. Honorable David and his wife, Patience, were arrested, not only for the murder conspiracy, but for the years of abuse and inhumane treatment they inflicted on Omar. The same child they once starved, the same girl they locked in a room, the same orphan they called useless, became the voice of truth that brought their hidden sins to light. Omar did not celebrate their downfall. She simply stood beside her husband, calm and dignified. Justice had spoken for her. Ending. Omar later dedicated part of her life to helping abandoned children and widows, proving that pain can be transformed into purpose. Her story spread far and wide, inspiring many who felt forgotten. Moral lesson: do not let greed control your heart. Never sell your conscience for money or power. Do not treat people like trash, because tomorrow may change roles. Be kind, for kindness is never wasted. Because in life, the child you ignore today may become the light that exposes your darkness tomorrow.